oh, by the way, have you heard of LbQ? And she then went on to explain how she'd found LbQ tablets really useful. And from that, I did some detective work, because obviously I didn't know who Miss BMBM was and where she was. And we managed to track her down, and we had a quick conversation. Sounds a bit bad, doesn't it? But we had a quick conversation, and I was talking to Kate about how Faye and Kate had been using LbQ, and particularly the tablets at the school. And I was really impressed at the different ways they were using the tablets, because quite often people get the LbQ tablets and think, oh, good, we can use them with LbQ, but they can do a lot more than just LbQ with them. And I think that sometimes is missed. So what you can do with the tablets. And so I then asked Kate whether they would be interested in running a webinar with me. And very nicely, they said yes, they would. I think this is your first webinar, isn't it, Kate?
Yeah.
Faye? So they're feeling a little bit nervous, but I did say they shouldn't feel nervous, because they were very good at chatting on the phone and talking about it. And I was, really impressed. So I'm sure that they'll be the same here. So, we're going to talk about what they've been doing. If you have any questions, please do ask them on the chat, and I'm sure Faye and Kate will answer them if they can. If they can't, being teachers, I'm sure they'll say they don't know, but they'll find out and set it for homework. But so that'll be fine with it. So as I said, we got started talking about the tablets, and first of all, I'd just like to ask Kate and Faye, how did you hear about LbQ initially? Yeah, go on. Sorry.
I thought Faye was going to speak first. But we ended up going to one of the free workshops. We've done quite a lot of work with elementary. Faye, I think before my time, is it Dan that had been in quite a lot?
Yeah.
So we knew quite a lot about elementary, and through that we'd heard about LbQ. We ended up going to one of the free sessions in Leeds just before Christmas, and we wanted to get straight stuck in.
Yeah. So what was it that grabbed you straight away about LbQ, learning by questions? What was it that?
It was the tablets as much as anything. Obviously the content is amazing, and mine and Faye's classes are so varied. Being able to get to all those different needs with the content on the question sets was a massive bonus. And then when we started to look into the tablets and how capable they were, it just really drew us in, because we knew how much we could get from them, how much it would save in other areas, and give our children that responsibility for their own learning, which we're really big on.
Yep, brilliant. So it's really interesting that it was the tablets initially that drew you towards learning by questions. And people, I don't know if you're aware, but with the learning by questions application that you can run with it, we've got over 80,000 question sets that are for English, maths, and science. And these can then be sent to devices, and children can answer them. So Kate or Faye, I don't know who will answer, but so you say your classes varied. So how did LbQ, learning by questions, actually help with that initially?
It helped us. Go on, Faye, you go. I've spoken.
That's fine.
Sure. It made it, obviously, because for anyone that's not using it yet, because you can have 3 tasks running at the same time, it helped us get straight in and differentiate for those needs, because we, like everybody, we've got children that are at different levels, that sometimes need completely different curriculums, and it meant that we could be the hub of that and have everything going, but everyone was getting exactly what they needed, and that was what sold it to us and what got us going nowadays.
The live,
So, go on, Faye.
The instant feedback, something that was that really drew us in as well. We've worked quite on sort of live marking and immediate feedback to the children, and obviously during an LbQ session the children are constantly getting that immediate feedback, and for some children that's all they need, for other children they need a little bit more support, but for us as teachers we can manage that better because we can see how the children are getting on really easily.
And another thing on top of that, obviously with it being self-paced and us being able to set the thresholds for the different question sets, because we have all of those children that get through things faster and slower than other children, And because it automatically moves them up the level, say we stick to kind of around 80% because it fits best with the Rosenshine principles for anybody that's familiar. So once they've hit that 80% success rate on the first level, it moves them straight on. And with it matching, especially for maths with the white rose, it meant that our children that were pretty good at arithmetic, need a bit of a refresher, but need to focus on that problem solving and reasoning, they could get straight through to that without us having to intervene and move them on physically. So it just meant that all the children were getting so much more out of each session.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, and what was the reaction from the children when you use LbQ?
They love it, don't they, Faye? Can we go on the tablets yet? Are we doing the tablets for morning work? Are we going on LbQ? Even my little pod that I've got going at the minute, they absolutely love it.
They just can't believe it's their lessons, that is their learning or their spag learning. They seem to think it's just an extra task. The fact that that's their maths lesson, it still blows the mind.
And there's even little things like we've put a sticker on each tablet, so that is that child's tablet, and you look after that tablet, and it's yours. And they really do take that ownership over it, and it gives them a real sense of, oh yeah, this is mine, I can look after it, and I've earned it. But like Faye says, them having that awareness that actually that is their lesson, they're still like, oh, can we do it now? Can we do it?
Yeah. And is it the feedback that we give? Because obviously the thing about learning by questions, that the feedback is a key part of what we offer, the immediate feedback. And do they really tap into that, do you think?
Yeah, I think children who make silly little mistakes, the sort of children who you would go to and you would point out a digit, or immediately go, oh yeah, that little bit of feedback is just what they need. And then as they go on, and if they continue to get the answers wrong, that extra support and giving them a bit of guidance on where to look, it kind of puts them in charge of their own learning rather than an adult going and telling them what to do, what they did wrong. They have an ownership over that, and we've seen a massive improvement with engagement with that.
And it really helps us as well, because obviously we can see with the master tablet, we can see who's doing all right, we can see who's moving on quite quickly. Sorry, that's my 2-year-old. And at the same time, we can also see, right, I can see that child A, B and C are getting really stuck around this point, so I can pause and show everybody, which is obviously an option that me and Faye use quite a lot, because we know that if so-and-so is getting stuck, actually, maybe this group are going to get stuck as well. Or, right, you and you, come sit with me. We'll work on the next few together, and you can still see from your tablet, I know that so-and-so over there in the corner has last answered 2 minutes ago, so they're probably switching off a bit, better send over. But it just means that you don't have to be on them all the time. They can have that responsibility.
And do you find that you feel like you're more effective in your interventions using learning by questions, because you're just going to those that need it rather than trying to second guess?
Yeah, it saves a lot of time as well. You can spend quite a lot of time checking the answers, working them out yourself, trying to read the children's answers, and it just takes all that away, so you immediately know who needs your help and who doesn't. And as Kate said, you can get a group together, you can go and support an individual child rather than working your way around a table and saying, yep, you're all right, oh, you need a bit more. It really just sort of is a lot of time saving. Yeah.
And do you use the pause button at all? Have you? Lots. What reaction do you get to that?
Ah, she's it usually.
I know. Children hate the pause button, don't they? And I've always said it's amazing to have a class where the kids really are disappointed they can't answer questions, whereas normally trying to get hands up, it's a struggle, but they want to answer questions. But yeah, but it's a valuable tool, the pause button, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Because I know that even when I work with teachers, if I don't press the pause button, they won't listen to me and they'll carry on answering questions when I'm doing my training or sessions. So we never change very much. No, that's brilliant. It's fantastic to hear how learning by questions is helping you. And just one other thing, I mean, has it saved you time, do you think, at all in your teaching? What ways? What could you say? What ways that might have helped at all? Or?
I mean, the question sets themselves are just absolutely fantastic. So obviously arithmetic is something that's quite easy, spag to sort of resource, but in terms of like problem solving, reasoning, reading comprehensions, they're the things that are quite time consuming, and to find something online that fits exactly what you're looking for is few and far between. And the question sets from LbQ are absolutely spot on. As Kate said, they link very closely to White Rose. A lot of them are very SAT style, so for year 6 it's that training. It means that when we're planning, you know, we sometimes adapt a question set, take some questions out, add some questions, but on the whole, our prepping and resourcing is pretty much done for us.
And as well, me and Faye, obviously, as Faye just said, we are year 6 teachers. We run quite a comprehensive intervention program using the LbQ, but meaning that me and Faye can look at, say, past data or past paper and see, right, these children, say it's reading, are really starting to struggle with inference. Right, we've got an ETA, we're going to run this intervention, but me and Faye can sit there and make sure that what those children are doing is exactly what they need. I'm going to push them this set of questions on inference, and I'm going to give them these questions to answer because that's got to tap directly into that skill, but we don't physically have to be there. And the ETAs are quite quickly quite confident with it because they know what they're doing with it, and they can always, if they're not sure, if it's technical things like, oh, it wants it with a capital letter, they can click and have a look, and they've felt a lot more confident and purposeful with what they're doing, which has been really helpful.
That's brilliant. Actually, interesting there, you talk about what you use with TAs. Some of the things I've had from schools is how our feedback has really helped some of the TAs, supporting them, because sometimes they're working with a group and they think, oh, am I saying this in the right way? Am I telling the right thing? And yet the feedback comes up and the TAs can actually go, oh, I can see this and this now. I can use that when I give my feedback to the children as well. And actually, we found we're upskilling some teaching and teachers as well. I'm an ex-teacher, and I looked at all the GPS, and I certainly need upskilling on GPS now after seeing what you're meant to do. So I find LbQ really useful when I go into schools and work with children myself. So. Yeah, I mean that, you know, that's fantastic. And of course, when you bought the tablets, LbQ, the app is already uploaded on the tablets, isn't it?
Yeah.
But what's often sometimes not realised by teachers, and I'm really pleased you have realised this, is that the LbQ tablets are actually Android-based tablets, and you can put other things on them, and you can use all the inbuilt features in other areas of the curriculum. So not only are you getting all this wonderful resource of LbQ, learning by questions, you're getting access to other things you can use in the classroom. And I wonder, we might move on a little bit about from LbQ to some of the other ways that you've been using them. Would you like to just tell us some of the ways that you've been using it, and maybe we can work around that? So yeah, Kate, would you like to start?
So, for example, some really simple things that we got into quite quickly are things like downloading some core apps. So, TT Rockstars, we use TT Rockstars. I have a TT Rockstar club 3 mornings a week. So, I will invite the year 6s in, they sit down, they're on their tablet straight away, and they're zoned in, and they have a good 10-15 minute focus on those core skills. And obviously, within the TT Rockstars on your teacher account, you can go in and edit which timetables we're doing. So it really meant that we could focus that again, and the kids feel like they're playing. Other things that we have used, and I know
so you can actually use the Play Store to download apps on it, can't you? Yeah. So if you want to use educational apps, then obviously that it's up to you. And you know, there are lots and lots of apps that you can go to and use as well. So that's one of the key things. And because it's Android, of course, you can use it with Google Classrooms and those things. It's an open Android, isn't it? But I know you've used some of the features, the inbuilt features, to do things as well. So can you say 1 or 2 things about those?
Yeah, we use the camera quite a lot. So Kate does a lot of the children to record things themselves to remind themselves on future lessons. So as we've all got their own. So if we've done a lesson on something and we've introduced some new vocabulary, Kate gets the children to record themselves doing a little definition so that they can remind themselves of that the next lesson. We've used the camera for QR codes. In doing research, I've done a little bit of orienteering with my class using QR codes, so the camera's really handy for that.
Faye, can you elaborate a bit on the QR codes? How does that work exactly?
So it was Kate who found an app to use QR codes, but basically we started our Greek topic before we closed the lockdown, and we wanted to sort of suss out what the children already knew, getting hooked on the topic. So we chose the websites, the videos that we wanted our children to see, QR codes for them, and we created stationery. So we printed the QR code. Different tables had different QR codes. The children went along in any order, scanned them, and it took them to a video, a website to hook them on our ancient Greece topic.
And is the QR code reader, do you download that?
You can do. We used qrstuff.com. So it's free. It was recommended by ICT and History, actually. It is really easy to use. So you can download, you can go straight onto the browser and find it, but once you're on the browser, you can pin it to your LbQ home screen quite easily. So after the first time the kids have been on it, they can just click on it and the scanner comes straight up.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic because they're finding out things for themselves, aren't they? And they're never quite sure what's going to get. So I think that makes it really exciting that it might be video, might be a bit of text. So you've got all that multimedia sort of element to it, and yeah, I think that sounds fantastic. And anything else that you've been using it for?
Inbuilt features, we've used things like the timer. I've used some science experiments lots of times this year. Again, the camera, making sure they can take pictures of their experiments, they can record their experiments, and obviously just with a USB cable, very quickly, I can have that on my laptop, on the board, and we can say, right, so this is what group A, this is what their experiment looks like. Let's have a look at it. What conclusions can we draw? What do we think is going to happen? Table B, I want you to do the next part, and pulling all their individual work together digitally, and they really feel like they've got that ownership of it again because it's their experiment and it just engages them that bit more.
And do you yeah, I was going to say it's the engagement element as well. I imagine that they really love using it to record. Do they take turns when they do that, or do they just use their own device?
They're pretty eager to use their own. They can take turns when they need to, but yeah, they do like using their own device and having it all.
That's brilliant. Yeah, and I think the use of video and recording is probably in many ways underused in schools, but it's a really great resource to have. And I don't know about you, but whenever I've done video and with the children, they absolutely love the idea of doing it, and they love actually being on videos themselves. Do you get them to video each other at all?
Yeah, we do. And Faye has done a lot with Tactivate. The children are using their maths and core skills in that. So sometimes got them recording each other, thinking about different strategies they can use. I've used them in PE quite a few times when I've been in. We've done things like gymnastics, and they've recorded their routines, spoken to each other about it. We're a physically active school, so we have a lot of active breaks during the day, and we've used them for that as well. I've said, right guys, I want you to research a playground game, go off and play it in your teams, and then I want you to do a video review of it. And then next time when they say, oh right, we're gonna have an active break, what do you want to do? And they say, oh miss, I want to do that one that we did on my iPad. Right, show me your video, and then we're all going to play it, and that's worked really well.
And where do they store these when they do this? Do they have their own area?
Yeah, in the learning by question trolleys, and we do have their own. They know where their own slot is.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's true. Sorry. Yeah, so you do get a charger with it. You got the charger when you bought the tablets, which will charge. But I was thinking more of the videos. Do they have how do you store the video? Do they have their own area, or do you?
At the minute, obviously, because we've only had them since January, and then with everything going on, we've just been storing them on the tablets. And if there's anything that we want to pull off, then we just USB it in.
Yeah, I mean, what I like is that it's their own tablet that you've done, so it's allocated to them, and therefore they can store it on there, and they know it's theirs. Obviously, when it's shared around, then that might be they might need their own folders or something like that, I would imagine. But for you, I think it's a really good way of running the tablets. That it is theirs, they have responsibility for it. And therefore they've got their own areas to store that. Do you use that for evidence, as evidence for and storing that yourselves? You just pull it off and you store it somewhere yourself once they've done it?
Yeah, definitely. Especially we've been using them quite a lot with our lower children, our special needs and special abilities children, and it has really helped for me specifically for a couple of children in my class to be able to pull physical evidence off of them doing things independently and things they've created independently on the tablet, especially things like writing and composition are their main talent. I always say to one of my little men that I can think of, oh, that's not my talent, it's fine. You know, you can do it on the tablet and you can show that you can do it because you can. And I found having that, especially when we're trying to evidence those children's progress in year 6, has been really useful.
That's brilliant. I noticed you've done some work on stop motion animation as well. Is that right?
Yeah, we've used stop motion animation for ICT this year. They've made their own little messages. They've done some pin machine type little robots, and also stop motion is a free app. It's really easy to use. It's really versatile, and the kids with a quick training session have got straight into it. And again, their independent ICT that's come away from that and their editing skills have just been enormous, and they just want to keep doing it all the time.
Brilliant. And do you use it for the computing curriculum?
Yeah.
Yeah. This well, come September, we've decided that year 6 won't have an ICT slot in the ICT suite unless we're doing any sort of word processing. We're going to use the tablet. We're going to lend them to year 5 as well, so they're going to use the tablet. We're going to do our computing curriculum mainly through the tablet because it's so much easier. You know, the tablets are really reliable. Obviously, we've got them in class with us, and the children are far more engaged using the tablets than going to the ICT suite and using the computers that are a little bit old now.
Yeah, and again, they're quite small, aren't they? And easy to have on your desk. It's interesting. What I've found in a few sessions I've done with children, it's been a maths lesson, and I've been to some schools where they put a laptop on the desk, and then there's no room for anything else. That's all can be on there. Whereas when you can have the tablets, you've got room for work journals, for books, for other things on the desk. Have you found that as well?
Yeah, we've done some we did a unit on the Amazon, and the children were doing We Are Travel Writers, which is from the Rising Stars, and they had their tablet, and their end goal was to make a travel brochure, and each step of each lesson was something that they had to do on their tablet and then record in the planning. So it might be, right, this lesson we're looking at flight times, we're going to put it into a table, and they will be using their tablet in front of them to check all those flight times, and then recording it on paper so that when they put their final brochure together, they had everything with them. And it just wouldn't have been possible in the ICT suite. So we'd have had books everywhere, you know, oh, I can't get on, my tablet, my computer's not working. And it was so much more streamlined, and the work at the end of it was just so much better. Yeah,
that's brilliant. I mean, yeah, that's just what I find as well when I go in. Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And when we were talking earlier as well, I think we were talking about, you know, the fact that it's not only had an impact in the classroom, but also on cost saving in the schools as well. And I don't know whether you've got any ways in which it's maybe helped you save money in the school.
Yeah, one of the biggest things for us was printing and cutting out. So Kate and I would spend an awful lot of on a morning or on an evening, printing resources, cutting things out. The amount that we used to print for maths was just ridiculous because we'd have our fluency, different problem-solving centre. You name it, we'd be making it, and that is just completely gone now. At the most, we might have a maths investigation for a couple of days, and there's only certain children will get to that. So it's completely reduced our printing costs for maths, and now we're starting to move into other subjects that as well. For teachers, time spent on that is just massively improved. Yeah,
I know feedback we've had has definitely shown that the budget for photocopying in schools can be huge. I don't know if you know what it is in your schools, but I know it can be. I've been amazed at the cost of photocopying, and I know the tablets, the LbQ tablets, can have a massive impact on that. And I think also you said you're not doing as much work in exercise books now as well. And
yeah, no, for maths we've gone totally in with the tablets. Our principal was very trusting with it and said, you know, I believe in you both. That's what you want to do. Go for it. So our entire maths lesson is on the tablets. All the children's responses are on the tablets, and they just use their books as jotters. So probably downsizing books for all next year, but it's really helped in that. And again, because we're not having to go around and think, right, I'll tick that book, I need to mark that book, it's there and it's done, and we can move them on, and it's just saved that all the way across.
Yeah, I agree, Julian. That's great when you got support from your senior management team as well on that. And you know, it's great, and I imagine it would save time in for yourselves. It probably gives you more time to do the things you want to do as well, and maybe focus on less marking. I don't know whether you find this, but less marking time and more time on focusing where the children need to go and what you need to put in place for those. I take it that's had that impact as well.
Yeah, after the lesson, we tend to spend time analysing the results that LbQ generates for you and regroup the children for the next lesson, whether any children need some same-day intervention. So rather than having a pile of books to mark, tick, dot, provide feedback with, we are analysing ready for the next lesson and adapting our planning or our groups, which is much better use of our time than ticking and crossing the questions.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if have we got any questions, Gillian, that we can quickly go through? If there's anything people have asked that we haven't answered.
No, none that haven't been answered already by the conversation.
Yeah,
everything people want to know. It's great.
Yeah. Oh, there's one, Dave. Have you met Riley? Do people know about Riley?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you know about Riley. Dave, would you like to tell us a bit more about Riley then? And it's for people who maybe don't know. It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Riley's a trilogy of guided reads that will explore with the children what their emotions are, either connected with or associated with COVID-19. So the final one in that trilogy we published last week, which for Year 6 teachers is dealing with the angst or potential angst of going to the big school.
Yeah, we did it in our pod with our 3-4 pod really well. Me and Faye have used it with a couple of our Year 6 pupils as well. It's been really lovely, and they really can relate to it, especially in my Year 3-4 pod. We did the first couple, and it really did lead on some nice SHCE because it was just so well written and in tune with what they were thinking. Like, oh yeah, that's how I feel because of coronavirus. But, oh yeah, and it really opens up those conversations. It's been really useful.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah, and I also, you mentioned the comprehension. This sort of came in as well a little while ago, where I don't know if you've seen those, but we had the reading texts with inference retrieval and so on. But we've added comprehension. But with that one, you do need to download a PDF of the text because it's just the questions, so the children can have the whole text next to them. And again, they've been received very well, and this is what I love about LbQ is the way that we can react to what is happening and to teachers' requests. I mean, obviously we can't answer everybody, if they just ask for something, but I've seen from LbQ that LbQ changes because of what teachers ask for, not because necessarily what we just think they need. And I do like that part of it. The other thing as well with Learning by Questions, you will have also probably seen the cross-curricular texts that we have. So, we don't do foundation subjects at the moment, but we have got elements for Romans and so on within our reading text. So do go and have a look at those as well. I think we're probably coming to the end of the time. And was that a bit easier than you thought, Kate and Faye, or was it very stressful?
A bit terrifying.
Well, it was really good to hear what you were saying. I hope people have found that quite useful. If you want to find out more about, if you haven't got Learning by Questions tablets and you want to find out more about the Learning by Questions tablets, we can get information sent to you about them. But we do a bundle of 32 8-inch tablets and one 10-inch teacher tablet and a charging cart. And you can either buy that outright or you can buy it over 3 years. And it's about £1,500 a year for 3 years, which if you compare that with the price of buying that set of iPads, it's incredibly good value. The other thing, I don't know if you're aware, Kate and Faye, that the tablets have a 3-year full warranty. So if anything goes wrong, then you basically let us know. We send you a new one, and you send the other one back, so you're not without the tablet. And again, you try getting that for some other devices, it's very difficult to get. So you're well supported. So I say we can get the information sent out to you if you haven't already got them, so you're aware of it. But please do let people know about Learning by Questions, which is great, but also the Learning by Question tablets, which I know Kate and Faye love, and the children love. One last thing, does anybody go, oh, it's an LbQ tablet, not an iPad, or do they just go, oh, this is really cool?
No.
I've never had anybody, whenever I've gone to school, even if they've had iPads or whatever, I've given them an LbQ tablet and they've gone, oh, this is really cool.
They're really weighty, which I think helps. I think some people think they're going to get these flimsy tablets, but they're pretty solid.
Yeah, they're solid, but you can, I don't know if you can see here, but they do just fit in your hand nicely as well for the children, and they do like the size of them. So yeah, I say every time I go in, they love them. But look, thank you very much. As I said, please can you give us your email and your school and your name, and if you can put on the chat your year group and the book and the year group you want for that book. If you can put that on the chat, then we will get that book sent to you, I say, free of charge. So yeah, do put that on the chat so we can actually get that information and get that sent to you. Yeah, thank you very much. I say thank you very much, Kate. Thanks very much, Faye. Really appreciate you coming on tonight, and thank you for everything you said, and thank you for everybody else for turning up. Okay.